Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmadoo.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Talk. Today we're going to go check out the deck board and look at a deck that's pretty interesting. It's a mix between Ninjas and Sacred Phoenix of a Nephthys deck. It's really good from what I'm seeing, and I think that there's a lot of potential to build off of it. So what I want to do is just go through the cards here, and we'll start with the Ultra Rares. First one is Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, and this one is just, of course you've seen this one. It's on the cover of the box, the mini box that recently came out, and it's the Winged Beast with 2400 attack, 1600 defense. During your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon this card from the graveyard, and when you do, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So, really clears out everybody's back rows. You can combo this out pretty well with other cards. So, that's just, but there's only one copy of this one in the deck, because I know it's not the full focus. But then there's also a copy of Sphere Karibo, an ultra rare that I still don't have yet. But what it is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, change the attacking monster to defense position. When you ritual summon a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as one of the monsters required for the ritual summon. So that secondary effect, at least for this deck, does not really apply because there are no ritual monsters in this deck, but this one's just really good as kind of more of a hand trap where your opponent thinks they got a clean shot into your life points. You just send your Sphere Karibo to the graveyard from your hand, and you switch that monster from attack to defense. It's a great card to have, and it's a bad card to go against because, you don't really know that your opponent has it until they activate it from their hand. So, really good card if you have the Ultra Rare, which I don't, but this is just another good addition to this deck. There's 3 copies here of Red Dragon Ninja, and this is a level 6 Winged Beast, 2400 attack, 1200 defense. When this card is summoned, you can banish one Ninja or Ninjutsu art card from your graveyard to target one set card your opponent controls. Reveal that set card, then return it to either the top or bottom of the deck. Your opponent cannot activate the targeted card in response to this effect's activation. You can only use this effect of Red Dragon Ninja once per turn. So this card is great in the sense where if you're able to summon this card onto the field, either special summon or normal summon or whatever, and you're able to activate that effect, say for example your opponent has a mirror wall, or say for example they have an enemy controller, for example, that maybe they want to pick up your monster then, since it looks like you're triggering to send that card maybe to the bottom of their deck. Well, they can't activate that enemy controller in response to your effect, and that's one of the best parts about this card. This is why it's a really underrated monster, and it's got that 2400 attack and 1200 defense. So for 2400 attack for a 1 tribute monster, it's always good in my book. I like seeing those 2400 range monsters. But just that overall part where you're able to basically send that card back to the bottom or the top of the deck, because in certain situations you do want to use the effect where you're going to send that card to the top of your opponent's deck. Say for example they set a trap or a spell card that is pretty much useless against your deck, and you'd rather have your opponent redraw that card instead of drawing something else that could potentially do some harm to you. It would be better in that case in certain situations. So that's why it's nice that you have the option to send that card to either the top or to the bottom of your opponent's deck. So that's why Red Dragon Ninja is an excellent card for this deck, and just a really good one overall. Then you got Fire King Avatar Yaksha. It's the level 4 rare card, 1800 attack, 200 defense. If a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy one card in your hand or that you control. You can only use this effect of Fire King Avatar Yaksha once per turn. So what you want to do is possibly activate this card, the Fire King's effect there, if you have your Sacred Phoenix in your hand, so you're able to basically send it, or you're able to destroy it from your hand to the graveyard to then activate your Sacred Phoenix's effect on that next turn. And it's also another fire type monster, same with Red Dragon Ninja, so you kind of got that fire theme going on, not too bad. Same thing with Sacred Phoenix, also a fire type monster. But let's move on to some of the other support. Looks like we got some basic ninjas here. You got 2 copies of Crimson Ninja, the level 1 warrior, flip monster, 300 attack, 300 defense. What you do is flip, you target one trap card on the field, destroy that target. If the target is set, reveal it and destroy it if it's a trap card. Otherwise, return it to its original position. So, this actually brings me to the point of this deck here, which has its skill set to Mind Scan. Now what Mind Scan does is if you have over a certain amount of life points, you're able to see all the set cards on your opponent's side of the field, whatever they are. So it's just a really, really good skill for this one. So there's really no guesswork if you're going to be flipping your Crimson Ninja and activating its effect to destroy a trap card. You're going to know if there's a trap card on the field because you're using Mind Scan. Now, if you're later in the game after you've taken a lot more life points of damage, Mind Scan is not going to work any longer, so you're not necessarily going to know. So there's going to be some guesswork in there. So to even out the whole thing here with Crimson Ninja, there's also going to be 2 copies of Armed Ninja. An Armed Ninja is a level 1 warrior flip monster with 300 attack and 300 defense as well, but you target one spell card on the field and destroy that target. If the target is set, reveal it, destroy it if it's a spell card, otherwise return it to its original position. So you have one of each of those ninjas. The ninjas are easily obtainable through battling standard duelists around Duel World, so if you have like 200 copies of it, I wouldn't be surprised just from going through all these legendary standard duelists, not legendary duelists, but the standard duelists that are out there in Duel World. But yeah, from there, you can run the 1 copy of Super Rush Headlong. Sometimes you could run more, it just depends on your preference, but you target one face-up monster target one face-up monster you control and declare 1 attribute. If that target battles an opponent's monster with that attribute this turn, destroy that opponent's monster at the start of the damage step. So this is good. You could activate it either during your turn when you're going to attack, or you could activate it during your opponent's turn when they're going to attack you. So it's just an all-around great card to just destroy your opponent's monster. Doesn't matter how strong or how weak it is, as long as it's not resistant to spell or quick play spell cards, but I don't think we really have too many monsters that are like that in the current game right now. Maybe there's 1 or 2, but overall you're going to be in good shape with Super Rush Headlong. So one of the more sought after cards in the game. Next, you get 2 copies of Enemy Controller. And my goodness, I feel like this is in every deck, but what it is you activate one of the following effects. The first one being target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and change that target's battle position. The second one is tribute 1 monster, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of that target until the end phase. So really good card. That's one that you're able to get from going up against Seto Kaiba. He'll drop it. If not, you could just use your tickets from going into the ranked duels and unlocking those super rare tickets, and you're able to obtain Enemy Controller using that super rare ticket. So hang on to that if you don't have 3 copies. I highly recommend that, but this deck specifically only runs 2 copies. Then you got 2 copies of Fire King Island. It's a field spell card where if this face-up card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard or banished, destroy all monsters you control. You can only use one of the following effects of Fire King Island per turn, and only once that turn. The first one is during your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand or you control, and if you do, add 1 Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. The second one is if you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 Fire Winged Beast type monster from your hand. So this card combos out really, really well with your Red Dragon Ninja. It's a fire and it's a winged beast. So what you're able to do is activate that effect and send your Red Dragon Ninja onto the field without needing any type of tribute summon. So really, really good combo move, and you're able to activate that Fire King Island effect to bring out that Red Dragon Ninja, and then hopefully send one of those set cards on your opponent's side of the field to the top or bottom of their deck. So it's a very, very lethal combo. I love it. It works out really nicely. Next, the player here runs a copy of Mishizer. Activate only when a monster is sent from the field to your graveyard. Select and destroy 1 monster on the field. You can activate this card during the damage step. Then, finally, there are 2 copies of Ninjutsu Art of Shadow Sealing. This is a continuous trap card and a really good one. You attribute 1 ninja monster to target 1 monster your opponent controls. Banish that target. While that card is banished, its monster card zone cannot be used. When this face-up card leaves the field, return the card banished by this effect to the same monster card zone in the same battle position. So if your opponent is not necessarily running too many spell or trap removals, then this card can just be an absolute game changer. This deck runs 2 copies, and I've seen decks run 3 copies and totally freeze up the opponent's side of the field by taking up all 3 spaces, leaving the opponent basically useless to summon and just kind of ride it out for the rest of the game unless they have any type of twister or anything like that to destroy the back row. But if not, they're kind of out of luck. So this card is really good, and it's just a great way to banish an opponent's monster temporarily. and then allow you to hopefully get some good plays running. So yeah, Ninjutsu Art of Shadow Sealing. It's only a common card too in that mini box set, so you should be able to pick one up rather quickly, rather easily, and it pairs very well in this deck, especially because you're running copies of Crimson Ninja and Armed Ninja and Red Dragon Ninja, so you're going to have a lot of ninjas to combo out with this card. So overall, that's kind of it in a nutshell, and it's just a real fun deck to play. Definitely check it out. Definitely see if you could put one like this together. And I know there's tons of variations of this. I know ninjas are very powerful, and I know Phoenix decks are very powerful right now too. So I'd love to see your take, but I kind of like how this one kind of builds the two together and meshes it well. Having the Fire King aspect and having the ninja aspect kind of seems like that's kind of what the box set was going for, including both sets within that box. So overall, yeah, this is really cool. And like I said, use Mind Scan. It's going to work real well as a skill with this. And Mind Scan is with Maximilian Pegasus, if I haven't mentioned that earlier. It's just an overall really good skill to have for this type of deck. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today's episode. If there's anything that you want to add, or if you have your own deck build, reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk, and I'd love to hear from you. And also too, just going to do a few quick analysis on some of these decks, some of these cards on our blog. Our blog is YuGiOhDeckTalk.wordpress.com. Again, that's YuGiOhDeckTalk.wordpress.com. So it's for basically any type of Duel Links updates, any type of TCG updates, and just kind of giving our opinion on certain cards. Some that are good, some that are bad, some that could be useful down the road, and some that are useful right away. So yeah, we're going to kind of look at everything. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today's episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.